Good evening and welcome to the program. First tonight, the case of the missing $1 million piece of art. It stood for years outside the festival centre before it mysteriously disappeared just last year. But no one wants to reveal exactly where the taxpayer-funded sculpture is now. Hendrik Gout is on the case.
She commands a sort of hefty price, there's no doubt of that.
It's a $1 million heist. The case of the missing sculpture. The Adelaide City Council boasts this piece, probably the most expensive public sculpture in Australia, on its website. The pride of the Festival Centre's art collection was once here, in the garden facing King William Street, before it mysteriously disappeared.
It's a very significant piece. It was, I think, one of those first that really established Adelaide on the scene as being able to manage good contemporary sculpture in the city, as public sculpture.
George Granger Aldridge, a sculptor, an artist, painter and illustrator, internationally acclaimed here in his Kent Town studio. This commission's for a multi-million-dollar home of a multi-millionaire, but George's works are also publicly accessible. Two of his monumental sculptures are in the Flinders Ranges, entries to the iconic Rawnsley Park and Willow Springs stations. So George, he knows his stuff.
It was said to me that at the time that it was bought, the most important piece of public sculpture in Australia.
There's no doubt of that. Hepworth really held a pretty high position in the international scene as a sculptor. And that's why, as I said, its significance is very clear as a piece of public art.
So, who was Barbara Hepworth? English-born, Hepworth, who died in 1975, was a world-leading visual artist.
Her work was extraordinarily important in forging new ground in British art.
In New York, a proud United Nations Secretary-General would walk past this Hepworth in the UN forecourt. Her work is in the Tate Gallery, in museums and, until recently, here in Adelaide.
Now the sculpture has disappeared. It seems to be a hole in the ground, as though it's vanished in the earth.
I think it's a great shame. It belongs to the people of South Australia, and if not South Australia, the rest of the country.
So, where could a 700-kilo sculpture disappear? Inside the Festival Theatre, we found this. Would one of these people know where $1 million vanished?
So we came here, the office of Michael Abbott, QC, AO, and the chair of the Adelaide Festival Centre, to see where he sat on the issue. He told us to come here, to the Festival Centre itself, and to speak with the CEO and Artistic Director, Douglas Goutier. Mr. Goutier issued a statement, but he could not assist us with our inquiries by granting a television interview. Next, our trail led us to the Art Gallery of South Australia, where we spoke to the director, Nick Metzovich. He told us he knew nothing.
You couldn't put a price on the enjoyment Barbara Hepworth's sculpture, Two Forms, Divided Circle, gave to visitors to Dulwich Park for 41 years.
London, 2011. Thieves stole a Hepworth sculpture from a Dulwich Park. It was insured for over $1 million.
When I first saw the cutting that had taken place, I literally felt as if I'd been cut myself. And it's just like a friend has been taken away.
The $10,000 award could not bring it back. But where did our Hepworth go?
Metaphorically driving the getaway truck was the director of Arts Lab SA, Andrew Durham. We know for sure that he sent a gang of men down to the Festival Centre. Those men unbolted the sculpture, dismantled it, put it in a truck and drove it away.
So we went to see the head of Arts SA, Hannah Schultz.
She said she'd cooperate fully if she could, but that as a public servant she couldn't speak to the public without the Minister's approval. And so our trail came to a dead end at the 16th floor office of the South Australian Minister for the Arts, the Honourable Jack Snelling.
Well, it's mysterious insofar as it was, as you say, a significant piece of art, sculpture which was precious to South Australia.
We know why it disappeared. The government is demolishing the festival plaza, ripping up its garden. Gough Whitlam described this place as
an inspiration to the whole of Australia.
It will mean the destruction of Judith Anderson's final resting place. Her ashes are interred in this wall. The famous Brett Flugelman sculpture's tetrahedra will go next. The Parklands Preservation Association's Ian Gilfillan says it's all about handing the plaza to a private developer for Adelaide's second biggest office tower and to the casino for more gambling machines.
This is the ultimate of insult. This is our land, and a commercial crazy government has decided to sell this out to commercial interests.
It's going to be a car park ultimately.
A car park which will return a revenue to some other commercial enterprise. And the thing to make absolutely plain is the land does not belong to the government. It does not belong to the council. It does not belong to the Walker Corporation. It belongs to you and to me, and they have stolen it.
Stolen? Certainly not as far as the sculpture's concerned. The festival centre says it's been put in a safe place, secure, and we all know how that ends.
It should be on public display. It shouldn't be hidden.
Hendrik Gout there. Now, there are